Good morning. I'm not sure how I'm even gonna set up my filming today. I've really just got to rock and roll. Today is Saturday, March 21st, and it's the first full day this whole week that I've had to really get something done in my yard. I've gotten some things done. I'm gonna show you that right now. It's not much to show, but it was important. But today is make it or break it day. Today is the day I have to get at least one garden fully rowed up, if not two. Accomplishment number one was I got my yard mowed. Oh my gosh, it feels so good. It feels like we live on different property now. I got my yard mowed Thursday afternoon, and I just can't tell you, it's like it's lifted a 10-pound brick off of my back. Because while it was feeling like spring, my yard was feeling horrible because of all the weeds that were growing up. And because of knowing I needed to take time to mow it when I really needed to be forming up my gardens. But I just decided to do it because I felt like if I looked around and saw beauty in my yard with all these azaleas and with the grass mowed and everything kind of trimmed up, that I would just be more into the gardening instead of feeling like I had this monkey on my back to get the yard mowed. So that's what I did, and it feels great. It feels wonderful. Second accomplishment was I got all my corn planted. I had rowed up dirt here and I planted the corn in the shallow basin parts. I did not do that for the rest of the garden. As you know, after it got plowed up for me the other day, we had a series of rainstorms come through that kind of compacted it down. So what I did was I just took my hand plow. I have a hand plow I got from House Tools, and I just took it and made furrows down in the dirt, and I went ahead and planted my corn in the furrows. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back later with my hand plow and plow the middle ground between these furrows, and I'll use that dirt that I plow up there to push back and hill the corn up when it needs it. I'm just kind of having to work it a different way this year, but it's just a matter of getting it done because my tiller's still not working. My tiller's just done, I guess. I need to accept that. And I don't want him to come over here and plow again because that's just kind of, to me, a waste of time. I just did it like this, and I think it's going to be fine. The corn is fine. It's going to be growing up in solid, firm ground. I'll till this middle part and get that fluffed up later and row it back over there. So it's no problem. I don't mind doing it, and it's done. It's off my list. I want to show you before I go any farther where my mom's cabin is going to be, her little cottage. It's going to be my house there, our carport. It's going to be sitting out in this grassy area out here. We're going to put it far enough back that we can put a porch across the front of it and still be able to pull in our parking spots and park. The cabin is in the process of being built, but nothing much has changed at my house. I have stones, 1, 2, and then I have 2 more down here that mark out the corners. Her cabin is going to be a 16 by 32. It's a shed conversion, but we're not actually going to be converting it. The other stone is right there. We're not going to be actually converting it. We're letting them do it. She had enough funds to where we could just let them do the work. My brother-in-law can't help with it right now. He's working a job. My husband can't help. I'm very handy, but I don't want to take on that responsibility of having to get this cabin finished. And so we're letting them do it gladly. Our parish is requiring us to dig footings for the whole square, plus put some footings across the middle for when they set the cabin on it, it'll be set on concrete. And when they use the cinder blocks to block it all up, it'll be blocked up on a firm foundation, not just dirt. I wasn't going to have it on just dirt. I was going to bring in some loads of limestone like my daughter and them had that their trailer was sitting on. That's crushed limestone, and it's got lots of little powdery particles of limestone in it. And when it rains and all, it sets up like concrete. I was going to do that, but they required us to go ahead and put real concrete footings. That's fine. I think in the end it'll be better. It'll be prettier. And we're gonna even go a step up more than that. The guy's gonna dig the footings and all, but he's also gonna take care of the dirt and all in the middle, scrape off all this grass. He's gonna dig up these 2 azalea bushes for me that have, there were 5. I've gotten 3 of them up, but these last 2 are boogers, and he's gonna take them out with his excavator, and I will gladly pay him extra to do that. So he's gonna take those out. But then he's gonna haul in some clay, build this back up a little bit, and then they're going to form it up, and we're actually going to pour a whole slab over this. It's just going to be a big huge concrete slab. Her cabin is 16 by 32, but we'll build out a couple of feet around each edge, so it'll probably end up being 18 or 19 feet wide, I guess, by 34 35 long, and it'll encompass to where when they drive up with her cabin, they can back it in and just put it on this slab. And she won't have any moisture under her trailer. It'll just be easier as far as worrying about termites or anything like that. It's going to cost us a little more, but we're okay with it because we want it done right. I have footings under my mobile home. They were there. I was glad they were there. Another mobile home used to be here, and they had poured long strips of concrete footings to put the mobile home on. I'm glad they're there. But my mobile home sits up off the ground. It's got skirting around it. You don't see any of that. But for my mom's situation, her cabin is going to be brought in and set, and we would rather have it set on a concrete slab. That's the way I really wanted to get it done. I was just worried about the cost. But when the guy came the other day, he recommended doing it too. That way there won't be any moisture underneath her cabin. We're going to put visqueen in this slab, so it'll have visqueen barrier. There won't be moisture underneath her cabin. There won't be as friendly an environment for termites or anything to get up under her cabin. And if someone does need to get up under there and work, they could actually, I guess, lay on a little rolly thing and roll up under there on that concrete and then roll back out. So it would be a little safer if anybody had to get up under there. So that's what we're gonna do. And I think it will be just prettier and more crisp around the edges. And in the end, we're going to be glad we did it. Even if it cost a couple more $1,000s, we're going to be glad that we didn't just dig trenches, pour jagged concrete in it, and go. This is my yard, by the way. This is my yard, and I don't want people to drive up and see a jagged project. I want people to drive up and see that she's in a nice situation and that everything was done right. There's also a couple other things that the guy that's helping me with the concrete work pointed out. So I really think it's going to work out good in the end to do it this way. When my trailer was installed, they used these spirally anchor bolts to go down into dirt to anchor my trailer. And so that's what I thought they needed to do with my mom's. So I was kind of worried in the beginning of having a big slab because I didn't know how they would work all that out. I didn't want the anchors to be going out at an angle into the dirt and showing. But he explained to me that no, and I can't remember the terminology he used, but they would use certain types of bolts to anchor the cabin straight into the concrete. And he said in the end, it's going down into the part where your footings and all are. And he said it would be really strong and better. The anchors are actually straps that go all through her ceiling and down her walls and come out the bottom of the cabin, and they strap those straps down to the ground, just like they did on our trailer, like any mobile home or anything. And he pointed out, and I like the idea, the slab is going to go farther out than just her 16 by 32. It's going to come out, a foot or two on either side, and there's going to be extra concrete. So what we're going to do is when they actually bring the cabin, we're going to have them back it in as far back to this edge as possible, but actually the edge might be out here. We're going to have them back it as far out as possible so that the edge of the cottage is along the back side of this and not just centered on the slab. So what will happen if we back the cottage up far back that way as possible is there'll be more concrete on this side sticking out. And that's what we kind of want, because that way when you're driving up, you'll see a couple of feet of concrete under her porch, possibly. It depends on how it's constructed and everything. But you'll see some concrete, and that'll look better than just seeing dirt. But also we can use the concrete closest to her house to put the base of our 4x4s and stuff for her porch. We're going to do a covered porch, and we're going to try to make it look really nice. And the bases of at least the back posts could be on concrete. The other bases may have to be on deck blocks or something like that. That's okay. But the ones closest to her house can all be lined up asymmetrically and everything done right, and be based on concrete with just maybe a plate thing under it. And as I said, things will feel like they were done the right way rather than just hastily done. And hopefully in the end, it'll all look really good. And if her cottage is ever, decommissioned and hauled away for any reason, then I will have a slab out here that we could possibly build a shed on or something. I won't just have a bunch of jagged edge concrete footings in my yard that don't really make sense, and they'll just be kind of a blight on my property. We'll have a big concrete slab. You could have an outdoor kitchen, you could have a shed, something, but it'll make sense with a slab. It wouldn't make sense if I had these ugly footings just poured out here. I wanted to have that conversation about her cottage because I had told y'all about it when I first started coming back filming. And then I haven't really said a whole lot else about it. And that's because things kind of were quiet there for a while. But we had her closing on her main home Friday. So that's done. That deal is done. The cabin is being built right now up in Mississippi. The guy is supposed to be coming around the 1st of April, very, very end of March. He's supposed to let me know to do the slab or to get to work on it. I have to call the Dottie, you call 811 or whatever, and you have them come make sure you're not going to be digging any trenches where there's any kind of power lines or anything. I have to do that before they come. My permit department, I've been working with them, so they have things they're going to do as far as coming to inspect and all. So it's all fixing to kind of start happening. When things are when you're going through a build of anything, it doesn't matter what it is, things go slow, and then they snowball. And they're fixing to start snowballing. So once that slab and all is done, we're not very far out, depending on what day they come, we're not very far out from having the cabin finished, and we'll be getting that call at some point once the inspections are all done. Our permit department is actually going to do some inspections via FaceTime with the cabin builders, and they're working it all out. It's like they're working with our manufacturer, I'm working with them to pay the permits, to put the sign up on my tree, to get everything done. So there's things going on in the background, but nothing going on my property. But in a little bit, there'll be a lot going on the property. The cabin will eventually get here, and then that's round 2, lining up the electrician, lining up the plumber, getting the sewer sprinklers put in and all tied in to her trunk line and everything. So you know how that goes. All that just starts happening. And the only thing we're not having done at the place, the cabin will be finished, except my sister and I have to get in there and paint the interior and stain the ceilings and everything. All of her walls, ceilings, walls, everything is 6-inch pine shiplap. It's going to be gorgeous, but we have to finish it out. Their price to actually do that part was really high. And so we weren't willing to just pay that to have that done. Once it's sitting on my property, we can just get out there, tarp the floors, and get out there with no furniture in it, thank goodness, and hit it. And get the ceiling stained, get the trim work stained and everything, and then start painting the walls, and we'll just have to get it done. I hate painting. I hate painting. I do. I've got 2 bathrooms right now. Last fall, there was a sale, plus I had coupons and all this stuff. I was so proud. I bought 2 gallons of light blue paint to paint both of my bathrooms, and I have not done it yet because I hate painting, but I'll do it. I'll get my bathrooms done, and we'll get my mom's painted. And then once things are hooked up and all, then we have the wave of moving her in and all. And I'll take y'all on the journey of all of this with us. I'll take you on those journeys because I feel like the information that we glean from doing this, the knowledge that we get, I can share with people. You never know where life is going to take you, but I have now had the experience of fixing up one house that we needed to sell, selling it, building the house that we used to have before we moved here. I designed it, I contracted it out, I worked with the builder on it, got that house done the way we wanted it, and we loved it. Then my husband's stroke happened, we sold it. So I had to go through getting that house kind of in top condition so we could get top dollar for it, and selling that and starting fresh here. I took you through the steps of setting up this mobile home up here, of all the different phases I had to deal with, from skirting to everything, plumbing, everything. I took you through all those steps if you want to go back through my videos and look at it. And I even took you through an hour-long video of exactly what it costs to do all this. I think a lot of people do not realize what it's going to cost to set things up, and they bog down mid-project because they don't have the funds or the cash. So that's a good video to go back and scroll and look at to see what it costs to actually set up a mobile home or a shed conversion or anything on your property. And it was eye-opening for me. And I think because of having to do this, we've learned now what we need to do for my mom's situation. And the lessons that I learned doing this were invaluable to her project. Well, I'm back out here at my back garden. I had a whole day of work planned to do out here. I'm going to show you a little drawing of my garden that I did last night, and then I got on my computer and made it nice and neat so that I wouldn't get all confused. And so let me show you that, and you'll kind of understand what I'm working with out here. This garden on the back of my property is a 14 by 28 foot garden, and I'm going to try to use the perimeters as best I can and plant a lot of things around that so that I can take advantage of the chicken wire for things to grow on. But the middle, I'm just going to make little small rows all the way down the middle to put some things, some lettuces, some escarole, radicchio, things like that that I just want to grow. Not a ton of, don't need a big row crop of them, but just a little garden back here that's going to be a little more intimate than any garden I've ever had. There again, this was all fluffy soil right after he tilled it up, and it got compacted as well. So I'm pretty much going to have to be using my hand tools to come back in here and kind of row things up. I will tell you, I'm not looking for perfection right now. I'm really not. I'm just looking for places that I can plant my plants, because I'm kind of running out of time. I'm not running out of time. I feel stressed. That's the problem. I feel stressed. We're going to have an 80-degree day today. It's going to be 81 the next day, 81 the next day. We are in it. We are kind of over that cold spell, and we're in it. It's time to make hay while the sun shines. Some things I might still want to kind of think about for a little bit, like my tomato plants, but other things like lima bean seeds or bush bean seeds, they can go in the ground. Right here along this little fence, I'm going to be planting kohlrabi. Kohlrabi can be in the ground right now. The mild or colder weather, if it happens to kind of come back, is not going to bother those seeds while they're germinating or anything. They kind of need cool weather to grow. So I'm kind of late getting those out. I'm late getting some things out. There's broccoli things I want to plant and other things, and I feel under the gun to get this done. That being said, and you probably felt my desperation. That being said, my daughter just called me and needs me to ride somewhere with her, and I just need to go ahead and do it. So she's coming in an hour and a half. I'm in shorts. I'm not really dressed or anything to go anywhere, but I told her I would go. So that's what we're going to do. She's asking me to go with her. I'll go with her. I'm going to just get done what I can get done in an hour and a half, and that's that. And then when we get back, we'll be gone an hour or two. When we get back, I'll just hit it again. And that's kind of how all my days go. And I could just take control and say no to everything, but I take it case by case. And I feel like I was happy she called to ask me to run this errand with her, and I haven't seen her all week, so I'm going to go with her. That's just the way it is. But right now, I'm just going to pick a spot. I'm going to pick a spot, and I'm going to call it a victory if I can get one or two little beds done, one or two little rows. I don't care. I'm going to call it a victory in getting anything done today, and just take it one day at a time. I started out by using my hoe, and I thought that was going to be the best tool for this project, but it was actually just more aggravating than anything. I was trying to bust up dirt, and I felt after a little while that I better just ditch this hoe and go get my shovel. So that's what I did. I ran, got the shovel, had to go back to the house, came all the way back. But once I started using the shovel, it just went a lot faster for me. You just kind of need to pop that shovel down in this dirt. It's already been tilled, so it's not extremely compacted. I just needed to kind of shove that shovel down in there, break it up a little bit, and then I kind of started mounding my little rows, and it went a whole lot easier. This project is going to take me a little while to get everything the way I want it, but it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be, and I actually kind of feel like I can make pretty good progress on it, better than I thought. I already had the melitons planted on one side of the trellis, so I started working on my little cucumber bed on the other side of the trellis. I finally got through with that, and then I moved on to my corn. I'm just doing 3 little rows of corn, and I got that done finally. And when I finished some of this stuff, I was just going to celebrate. It felt so good to get done with it, and I just wanted to celebrate the victories as I took them. And then I'm moving on after this to the very end row, which was the Christmas lima beans. Luckily, it wasn't too hard. I got her done, just knocked it out and got it done, and then I was able to celebrate. Christmas pole beans. So what I got accomplished before I went with my daughter was I got the bed made for the Christmas lima beans, the gerlide corn, the dragon's egg cucumbers. The merlotons were already planted, so I checked them off, and I got the bed ready for the louder milk lima beans. And I'll work on the rest later. Well, it's the next day. I ended up not getting out here again yesterday like I intended. Went with my daughter. We had a wonderful time. I'm so glad I went. Then she needed to go by Walmart, so I went with her. I didn't spend a dime, but it was fun just to kind of get out and go with her. She always has the kids with her. Yesterday she didn't, and we got to just kind of run around for a little bit. It was nice. I had to babysit my grandkids this morning, so this is Sunday, March 22nd. And my little grandson and I got out here. He's 4. He loves to help me in the garden. And we planted the dragon's egg cucumbers right here. Just this small row, but we put like 5 holes. Put 2 seeds in a hole. We'll see what comes up. So dragon's egg cucumbers, and they can kind of go up here if they want. They do vine, but they don't go crazy. So I feel like they have this whole side to go up and down. They have the chicken wire back there they can get on. So it's just I'm loving this little garden back here. I really am loving this little garden. I'll talk about that in just a second. In these trenches down here, I have 1 trench, 2 trenches, 3 trenches. In those trenches, we planted the gerlide. It's kind of a blue and white and yellow corn. You never know what it's going to look like. Could be blue. Some of them will have a whole lot of white and only a couple of blue seeds, but it's interesting. I got the seeds from Seed Savers Exchange, and I have grown it before, and it did okay. The ears didn't get really big, but it was a good sweet corn. It's an heirloom brand, and if I can, I'll try to save seeds and keep that brand going. But it's a gerlide corn. I just put 3 little rows. These are only like 4 foot deep. So I think we had like, I'm just do it with my finger, kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably about 7 seeds across. So about 21 seeds. We planted them 2 to a hole though, just to make sure our germination came up really good. I can thin out if I need to. So about 21 stalks, hopefully, they'll come up. A couple of ears per stalk. If they do good, if they do good. But I'm looking forward to growing. I like corn, so I want to stick a little corn back here in this corn patch. Along this side wall here, this end cap, I call it, 14 foot wide, we planted Christmas pole lima beans. I talked about all this yesterday, but I just want to verify we did get it planted this morning. He had a ball. I just made the holes with the end of my rake, and so he could easily see the holes. And he went through there putting the seeds in, and then Mama will help cover them back up. And we just talked about it a lot, talked a lot. He loves doing that. On the other side of the trellis that I built, on this end down here, from about there to the end, the sun is shining, so it's hard to see, but this post right here is the end where the chicken wire makes a turn. All along that little row there, we planted laudermilk butter beans. I got those seeds from Clemson University in South Carolina. I bought a lot of seeds from them, from their seed bank. They're not expensive, but they do have some very rare types and varieties of different things. I haven't had the best germination with some of them. Some did okay, some not. So I never know. This is the first time I've tried the laudermilk, and I've had the seeds for a few years. So I don't know what's going to happen. I actually had extra seeds though, because I had more than I needed. So if I see that I have missed spots and things not coming up, I may come in here and kind of do a second sowing and try to make sure I get a little crop of them. I'm so happy that I decided to put this garden back here. I've been just thinking about it for so long, looking out my kitchen window when I'm doing dishes, watching the sun kind of back here. Right now it's kind of dappley shaded, and that's okay. I've noticed during the day how sometimes it's really bright sun back here, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's dappley shaded. I'm okay with that because also I want to experiment a little bit. Everything else that I've had planted in my yard has been out in full sun, because in the front of my property it's full sun. So my big garden up there, full sun 24/7. My corn patch, full sun 24/7. And that's okay for those things. It's okay for corn, especially corn loves to be full sun. But I've also watched other things that I grow struggle. I've watched them struggle, and I think it's because of the heat that we get here. Now that's why through the last couple of years I've been trying to do what they call landrace gardening, which is to kind of get seeds adapted to your environment, your soil, your conditions in the little microclimate that you live in. It might not do the same 10 miles down the road, but if you can grow things that'll, the seeds will get adapted to your property, then you've done something, and you keep growing those seeds over and over. I'm working on that, but I also have lots of different directions I go in because I have so many seeds. I have seeds that I've started the landrace process with, like some of my corns. I've grown some of those, not caring whether they crossed or anything, just putting the corn that I wanted to grow out there. I don't care if it crosses, just does whatever. I've tried to kind of time a few things to where some of them are field corns that take 110 days versus some of the sweet corns that only take 60 or 70 days. But what I do is I might grow 10 or 12 varieties of sweet corns together, and then at the other end of my bed I might grow the different types of field corns that I wanted to grow, but they're close together, and I didn't care if they crossed. A lot of times you're supposed to separate this stuff by a football field, but I didn't really care if it crossed, and I've saved seeds from that. And I've got those seeds in the house. I've got quart Ziplocs full of those seeds that I've saved, and some of them I even was on the second year of doing that and saving seeds. But this year, what it is I still have so many seeds in my seed bank of seeds that I want to grow that I haven't started land racing with yet, but I want to grow them. And so this year, that's what I'm doing. Up front, I planted 4 different seeds, I think, 4 different seeds that I've never planted before. Haven't worried about land racing them. I'm not going to worry if they cross and things like that. And yes, I'll still probably save seeds. So it's kind of like I'm just getting started on those land racing those seeds, but they've never grown up here before. Not sure exactly how they'll do. I'm going to have to see. I can definitely tell you the ones that I was land racing did do better the second year than they did the first year. So I think there is something to that. You have to start thinking of your seeds as like little computers. These seeds are programmed by God to do certain things, to grow a certain way. And when you supply the ultimate conditions that you can with your soil, with water, and then the weather cooperating and all, those little computer seeds, if they get what they need, they will just flourish. And then if you save seeds from the plants that flourished, don't save seeds from the plants that languished the whole season. Save seeds from the plants that flourished, plant those seeds the next year. They're even more adapted to your property, and those little computers inside the seeds think to themselves, oh, we know we did good in this soil last year. We're going to do good again this year, hopefully. And if everything goes right and they do really well, save seeds from the best of those. And so that's how landrace gardening works. But what has happened is I have just tons of seeds, and I don't want to waste the money that I invested in those seeds by only focusing on landrace gardening. So this year I am kind of putting more things out. And some of the seeds that languished and didn't do really well up in my full sun, I kind of wanted to try back here. For me in South Louisiana, things like endive, radicchio, lettuces and different things, those don't always do well for me at my house because it gets so hot, and we have went through 2 years of a drought. So that hits you and you don't expect it when you have drought. So I could chalk it up to that. But in general, it's hard to grow lettuces and delicate leafy things that don't like to be beat on for 12, 14 hours a day with South Louisiana sun. So some of those type of things I want to plant back here. And if it gets dappley shaded and all, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think they're going to love it. If it was in full shade all day and it was just in this conclave of trees, it'd be different. But the trees are way back. They're leafed out right now, so that's what's causing this little dappley shade. When I first had this plowed up and all, the trees were bare, so there was a lot more sun coming back here. But it's still warm back here. It's 80 degrees today, but it's pleasant back here when I'm working. It's not like it would be if I was up in the front of my property in the full sun working in 80 degrees. And I think the plants appreciate that too. I think there's going to be things I can grow back here that are going to feel comfortable in this environment, like my kohlrabi. Hopefully I could maybe have that. I've tried to grow it in full sun at my other property at Camp Joy, and it wouldn't bulb up. I had kohlrabi leaves and it never really made a bulb. But I think it's because we go from cold to where you're not really supposed to plant. It's too cold, we're having frost and freezes, and then we go to 80 degrees, and then it stays, and then it goes to 90 and 100. And so there's certain things that aren't great for me to try to grow. But I think back here in this little, I don't know what I'm going to call it. I keep wanting to call it a cottage garden. My grandkids heard me say it's kind of like a guerrilla garden, so they calling it my guerrilla garden. I don't want to always call it my guerrilla garden, because then that's just advertising I have a guerrilla garden back here. So I don't know what I'm going to call it. Everybody seems to call theirs cottage gardens. I want to do something different. So I'm not sure. To think of a name for me if you could. Laney's Hideaway, maybe Laney's Hideaway Garden, something like that. But what I want to do is I want to get it established and just leave it alone. I'm not going to have Bubba come every year and run his tractor through this garden. I will for the front garden and definitely for the corn patch. I need help with that. But for this garden, I'm just putting a little elbow grease into it this year, and then I think it's just going to stay that way. I could maybe move rows, change things, because I'm going to see where I made mistakes, I'm sure. I'm going to see where I shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have done that. I'm going to see where the water goes crazy and sits and whatever after a terrible rainstorm. Anything can happen. So I'm going to learn, but I can shift it on my own. And this might even be a great little area to try some Vago beds or something like that, though I don't really want to spend all that money right now. I just want to get stuff growing. And I think between the two gardens I have in the front and this garden back here, and then a couple little carport areas I have and a little sugar kettle and all, I'm hoping I can pop out some food this year. I have a video coming up. It's all in my head right now, but I have a video coming up because I really, really do want to talk about the need to right now be putting back food. This has been something shadowing over our heads for years and everything, but I really feel like right now it's a priority. So that's what's on my mind. That's why I actually put in an extra garden this year, because it's more footage. It's manageable for me, but it's more footage that things can grow and just keep that supply of food coming, to be honest with you. So this garden I think is going to stay. I'm going to get to work on it right now, not really going to film everything. Same thing you saw yesterday, just different beds today. But I'll let you know what I get finished, what I get planted. This has been so fun. I've enjoyed it so much working on this particular garden that I really haven't done much of anything except one row of peas in my big garden, and I need to get on that this week, here shortly, just whenever I can get to it. In just a relatively few minutes, I would say 45 minutes, I managed to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little mounds. And I did them with like little basins around them. You got to remember all this soil's already been tilled up, so it's fluffed. So basically I just dug down into it a little bit to put a little basin around each hole. I buy seeds from a place called Native Seed Search, and they're always talking about like either making a basin around where you plant it or planting straight into basins to get some of their seeds to do the best. That captures the rain. Of course, they don't have as much rain in Arizona as we do here, so I don't want to plant down into a basin, but I am going to use that concept of having a little basin around these things just to maybe hold some water and self-water them a little bit. But we're going to see how it goes. There again, I'm just testing it. These two down here by the end, I'm going to plant cherry tomato seeds. I'm just going to direct sow the seeds in there, not starting the plants. Actually, the very first year I ever gardened, I didn't know how to start plants. So I did all my tomatoes by just sticking seeds in the ground. And you know what? They grew great. It's probably the best harvest I ever had. And I'll tell you a little bit in a minute why I'm going to do that too. These other four down here, I already put the seeds in. It's called, it's a winter squash, and it's called Delicata Candy Stick Dessert Winter Squash. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they might be the kind that are kind of oblong. They're long and skinny with the green and white stripes, I think, but I can't remember what the picture in the catalog said. I put 4 seeds in each little hill. You never know with winter squash. Some of them go crazy and take over your whole garden. I think these being a little dessert style, I don't think they're going to do that. However, I do have all of this chicken wire in the back. So any of the vines I want to, I can train up and over that chicken wire. The other can kind of go out and I'll just have to deal with it. You never know if you're going to get good germination. You never know what's going to happen. So I'm not even really worried about it. If I'm growing food, I'll figure out somewhere to train those little vines. It's okay. So that's what this is. 4 of these and 2 of the tomatoes. I'm going to pick out a variety for these tomatoes. I'm not really sure which one, but it's definitely going to be cherry tomatoes. And I'm probably just going to try a variety I've never tried before to see how the seeds do. I'll let you know later what I decided to do. The trees are dropping all of these little things right now, whatever that is. I don't know, it's probably pollen or whatever because it's all over my car and they're dropping it, so there's every good chance I have it in my hair right now. I don't know, I see it flying all over the place. I swept my porch this morning and it's all back on my porch. There's nothing I can do about it. All of my seedlings this year look terrible. I'm not real happy with any of them, which makes me think it's the dirt, the soil that they're in. I used just 1 bag of stuff. I mixed it with water, but in the water I had put the same thing I've always done throughout the last couple of years. I mixed some kelp in with the water and just a little tiny bit of Miracle-Gro at first. Later on I do put a little Miracle-Gro to them later, and usually that is fine, but this year nothing's helping. When every variety you plant in the whole tray, whether it's a melon, winter squash, tomato, or bell pepper, when they're all looking terrible, it has to be a common denominator of the soil, I guess. I'm gonna pull some through. Some of them are gonna make it through, but it's not what I wanted. It's not when I started these plants what I had in mind, but I'm just gonna punt. And the way I'm gonna punt is, number 1, I'm gonna just direct sow some seeds, and that's fine. Number 2 is I have to go somewhere to get my car, the oil changed and all, that's far from my house, from the dealership. I have to go there later next week, and I might just go by a co-op that's near that area and buy a few plants. I don't care. One way or the other. The reason I start them is not so much to save money and all, it's so that I can try some varieties that I just can't buy anywhere around here. And that's always worked out for me, and I love doing that. But if I need to go pick up a few just to have some plants in the ground, in the meantime, I will also try some of the ones I've grown to see how they're going to do. I've been trying to harden them off the last few days. And also, I'll direct sow some seeds, whatever it takes to get the garden growing, because I have in my mind this year, I want to put up a whole lot of diced tomatoes. I find that that's what I go to the most. I've got lots of crushed tomatoes on my shelf, and I'll use those too in chilies and everything. But I find that I really have been needing the diced tomatoes lately. So this year, I don't want to sacrifice. I want to get some tomatoes. We want to eat them. We want to have them for supper. sandwiches and all, and I want to have some to put up. So whatever it takes, I'm going to try to get it done. Last shot of the day on this absolutely beautiful day here in South Louisiana. I got the kohlrabi planted. I went with the white Vienna kohlrabi instead of the purple kohlrabi, just simply because I had more seeds and I haven't really grown that one before. So went with that. So I'm done. I've pretty much worked the perimeter of this whole thing. I've worked the perimeter. Got the corn and the cucumbers down on that side. Got my arch. I planted the Melitton plants that my friend gave me right there. Louder milk butter beans, and back around to the kohlrabi. So all I have to do is form up my little rows in the middle, which to me was going to be the hardest part, so that's what I was avoiding. But after doing all this other, I can see that this dirt is still really soft, and it's not intimidating me anymore. It's just that I didn't want to be walking on it and everything while I was doing the outer stuff. So I did the outer, and then I'll come back and do this in the next few days. I actually do have an appointment tomorrow. I'm going somewhere and I'm going to be gone all in the middle of the day. But it's for a fun thing. It's a friend of mine and I are getting together, and I need that right now, to be honest with you. So I'll get on this Tuesday for sure. Maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday. We'll see how it goes depending on other appointments and stuff. But it's getting done. And I'm going to be simultaneously trying to do a little bit in my big garden. But here in the next week or so, it'll all be done. Probably right after Easter, I'll be kind of fully planted. This is Lainey from Hilltop Home Place. It's still beautiful this evening, and I have more time I could work, but I'm going to go see my granddaughter. She's wanting me to come see her. Her mom and my other little grandkids are going to be over there, so we're going. We're just going. Gardening's fun. I love it. But there's other things in my life that have a whole lot more priority. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.